7th chapter. We did not finish it. There's one small parable in there in the end, but very important one. Right? Matthew chapter 7, verses 24 through 29, about the two houses. Today let's talk about that. Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on the rock. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house. Yet it did not fall, because it had its foundation on the rock. But everyone who hears these words of mine and does not put them into practice is like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house. And it fell with a great crash. When Jesus had finished saying these things, the crowds were amazed at his teaching, because he taught as one of who had authority, and not as their teachers of the law. So this parable is basically the ending of the Sermon on the Mount. What do you usually say in the end?
Like conclusion?
Recap.
Yeah, the conclusion, like summary. So basically what I'm saying, he says here, underlining all the Sermon on the Mount, who listens to my words and puts them into practice is wise man who built his house on the rock. Who does not listen is the foolish man who listens, but they both listen, but doesn't put them into practice. That's the difference between two people, right? So this, closer to the end, we would like to say something that people would think about walking away, let's say, to digest it a little bit. Though all the Sermon on the Mount obviously was great. Two men. One listens, does not put words into practice. Second one listens and puts vice versa. Okay. So what are these images in this parable? What is the house? What is the rock? What is the... Let's try to analyze this one. Who is the man in this parable?
We are those people.
The people, right? Probably people are men. Okay. What is the house?
Life.
What are we building?
Just maybe life, maybe our conditions, how to live this life. Conditions.
We build life on our convictions, let's say. And then convictions, probably, but not only conviction. If you accept something and then you fulfill it, this maybe is your conviction. So basically, our convictions may be the fundament, the basis, right? Then our life is our house that we build upon our convictions. So we live as we believe, and we do as we believe, right? Okay, so what is the wind, the streams, the storms?
Obstacles.
What? Troubles. Okay. Yeah. Challenges, trials. Yeah.
Some maybe devil's plans to break our convictions.
Okay. Everything that's trying to destroy our life, basically. Troubles, things that make us unstable, challenges, temptations, let's say. And how Jesus says the fundament is being put in this parable. How people are choosing on what to build, rock or the sand. What is the crucial thing? for the fundament. Well, basically, because when you build a house on something, you build it on some kind of fundament, right? So how do people choose or lay down their foundation?
Different choices in life that you make, like whether you want to do like you want, or you turn on your brain and decide, like, okay, maybe I want to do it this way, but maybe it's better to be not so selfish, to do it differently.
Okay. So how practically do you do that?
Examples.
Well, like, according to Jesus, let's say, he says that both people hear the words of Jesus, right? But somebody builds on the rock, somebody builds on the sand. What is the distinction?
Because of fulfilling Jesus' words.
Yeah, basically. So we lay down the foundation through our action. So not through just accepting the words, not through understanding that the words of Jesus are valid and okay, it would be great to fulfill them, but actually through how we fulfill the words of Jesus. So basically, the action. Yeah, we say a lot that, we're not being saved through the action, right? We're saved by faith, by grace through God. That is true, but we lay the foundation of our life, not just through believing, because even the demons believe, as James said, and they tremble waiting for Jesus, but through fulfilling of Jesus' words. And yeah, the foolish man is called the one who decided not to fulfill Jesus' words. So why do you think you can decide to not fulfill Jesus' words?
Because you don't want.
I don't want to, okay?
There could be different reasons. Now I'm thinking about kind of to be deceived that it's not about doing things, but to believe, and even depending on mercy of God. It's okay because God is merciful. So.
So having some weird convictions about Jesus' words, how to fulfill them. So wrong perception, right, of Jesus' words can be the one reason.
Sometimes it's easier not to follow Jesus.
Yeah, well, as we talked previous time, it's always easier not to follow Jesus. I mean, objectively, let's say. Subjectively, it may be easier because we have Jesus, right? But in comparison, it's a harder way, right, to fulfill. As we said last time again, the wide road, the narrow path. Jesus addressed it last time. Yeah, go through the narrow gates, through the narrow road. It shouldn't be comfortable, because it's easier, obviously, to not fulfill the words of Jesus, and having some weird convictions about it will still save me. Even if I don't fulfill the words of Jesus, I'm saved by grace, so I can do whatever I want. And I don't like the scriptures where Paul and James say that it's not right to do whatever I want, right? So people tend to use the wide path. I had the story with air humidifier. So we bought this fancy air humidifier like 4 months ago, I think. Xiaomi, Gumo. And guess what I did when I unpacked it?
You try to.
Yes, I tried to plug it in and turn it on, but I did not succeed. Because I did not read the instructions. I never read the instructions. Because how hard can it be? It's just a humidifier.
You only read the instructions only when problems appear.
Exactly, that's the point. That's the valid point, actually. I tried pushing all the buttons all over the humidifier. Like, why? Oh, probably it's broken. So it took me several hours. I even thought like, okay, so I need to call the delivery guy to tell him to bring it back to the company for them to kind of fix it or something, or replace it, because it's not working. It's obviously not working. But then the thought came to my mind: how about I read the instruction? So I read it, and everything worked. Just obviously.
Even there is this saying, one day of trying do it yourself saves 1 hour of reading the instructions.
Yes.
It's worth it. Actually.
Yes, that's true. That's true. That's very true. So we tend to think that we know how everything works. We tend to think how our life works, how we're going to be saved, how, everything. And what if I, for example, according to this one, read instruction but still did not do anything? This is stupidness, right? That's because I think that's why he calls the second man the foolish man. Because it's foolishness to read the instruction and know what to do, but still choose not to. That's foolishness. But still, it is easier. And sometimes we prefer to forget the instruction or to not read the instruction because we know how to do stuff. Right? And then, what are the consequences then for the man who built his house on the sand? What are the consequences?
The house will be broken.
Yeah, the house will fall, and its fall will be great. Right? So not very specific. We cannot say okay, he will lose salvation or something. Maybe he'll try again on the rock next time. I don't know. But definitely, it's going to hurt his life. It's going to hurt him. That's for sure. Maybe he will even die, because when the house is falling and you're in the house, there's a great chance that you will die. So, yeah, we cannot say for sure. But when does the house fall in this proverb?
Wind and
When troubles come. Right. So the house may seem fine, may look good, until the trouble comes, until temptations come, or some kind of difficulties, trials, right? Notice that, not if they come, but when they come. Because troubles and trials came to both houses. So it doesn't matter if you build your life on the rock or on the sand, the troubles will come. And Jesus says about this. The temptations will come. It's not possible for them not to come, right? So why did the house fall?
because it was built on the sand.
Because of the trials. Yes?
Because of foundation.
Not because of trials,
Not
because
because
of
of
the
trials.
beliefs that the person had, and his faith failed just because he had some expectations, maybe from, for example, expectations from people, like they can be wrong, like every Christian has to be saint and do only good things for me, but I met such people. But when trials happened, when a person saw, wow, so many sinners in the church,
Yeah.
and the house fell.
House falls. But yeah, the main reason of the house falling down is never an external reason. Is never the trial. Is never the floods. Never the rain. Houses are being built to actually save you from the winds, the rains, and the houses should be strong, right? So it's not about the trials, because the trials are the reality in which we live. We cannot blame anything or anyone if our life falls apart. Not the external factors. We cannot blame our husbands, our wives, because our lives are cracking and falling apart. We cannot blame the job. We cannot blame the war. We cannot blame the politics. If we are miserable, if we are angry, and our life falls apart, it's not because we are being provoked. As people now in America like to say, my body, my choice, right? So it's not the external thing. It's all about the foundation. Because everybody experiences things. More or less, and God chooses maybe to spare us for now from the trials, but they will come. That's the thing we should understand. So what is the sand then? What is the foundation made of sand?
General faith.
Maybe because when people try to build their lives on their own wishes or their own thoughts about how to live this life and what
You know, there's this Russian saying, "Slovo не воробей." The word is not a sparrow. And then somebody came up with a continuation of this one. Nothing is sparrow but the sparrow. Ничто не воробей, кроме воробья. So we know what is the right foundation, right? What is the right foundation? Not just Jesus, but
to fulfill Jesus' words.
yeah, the fulfillment of Jesus' words. This is the only right, solid rock foundation. So what is the sand? Everything else. Everything but fulfilling the words of Jesus will be the sand. And do you think it's important to test our house's fundament basis? I think it is. Like, Bible tells us all the time, like even Paul to Timothy wrote it was in Corinthians, like, test yourselves whether you're in the faith. Test yourself. There are devices, I just figured out yesterday, I found out, there are devices actually testing the density of the concrete in the basis of the house. And they're pretty useful, because you need to know how strong your fundament is, right? Why do we use these devices? Because when the trials come, earthquakes, for example, come, we don't want our house to fall down, right? So yeah, there was this earthquake recently, Turkey, Syria, devastating, died, like thousands of people died. And who do people blame for that?
Government, builders,
Yeah.
houses.
Yeah. Yeah, well, government, that they did not control the builders that built the houses from some junk. So not keeping these houses were not tested properly, were not like made to sustain through the earthquakes like that. They figured out, they blame them. And that's a valid blame actually. So how do we test our fundamentals, our basis?
In difficult situations, like conflicts.
Yeah, I see two ways actually. I see the good way and the bad way, the wise way and the foolish way.
Also, as you said earlier, in Timothy Paul said that "Лукай себя учение."
Yeah. This is 1 Timothy 4:16. He says, "Watch your life and doctrine closely, persevere in them, because if you do, you will save both yourself and your hearers." Right. So this is the wise way, I would say, to watch your life and doctrine, basically what you teach, what you believe in, closely and compare it. Right? Do I live by what I believe? Right? This is the wise way, is to study the Word and compare yourself to the Word. And prepare yourself, obviously. Then we will be prepared for the earthquakes and trials, because we will fix all what's wrong before the trials come and we fall. There's the hard way. Unfortunately, most people choose the hard way. Is through the destruction of our house, right? So if our life is collapsing in front of us, that means that the fundament has a problem. Just a consequence, right? Our lives are falling apart not because, again, something or someone. Our life falls apart because of one reason. Our fundament was not strong enough. We did not build it right way. It's this way is through pain, basically. And often, yeah, we choose this one. Syrians and Turkish people, they were okay and lived just fine in these houses until the earthquake came. And then the earthquake came, and now they're going to decide probably this problem. Nobody would want to live further in such houses built with such, defects. Now they will make them stronger, obviously, put the right foundation. But this lesson has been learned through the thousands of deaths.
Mhm.
And probably they will forget about this in 50 years or something.
It's usually.
Yeah. So I think it's up to us to choose what price are we willing to pay for having the right foundation. Are we willing to do the precautions, let's say, to analyze our lives before it falls apart? Or then we pay a big price. We go through pain, we go through whatever. We may lose our lives, actually, going the second way. The scripture reflecting that scripture that we read in the beginning is James 1:22-25. You all know that one. Do not merely listen to the word and so deceive yourselves. Do what it says. Again, James says. Anyone who listens to the word but does not do what it says is like someone who looks at his face in the mirror, after looking at himself goes away and immediately forgets what he looks like. But whoever looks intently into the perfect law that gives freedom and continues in it, not forgetting what they have heard, but doing it. Again, James underlines it, not just listening, but doing it. They will be blessed in what they do. So, dear friends, what do we need to start doing?
Examining the beton.
Examining the concrete, yeah. Examining the foundation, yeah. This is a very wise way, to do these things. But we talked recently to one friend of ours, and he said, we talked, we tried to explain to him what Jesus says, what's right, and say that he's being deceived by his own heart. And he said, yeah, I understand. I am being deceived by my own heart. So you need to do something about it. You need to, understand it and just change what you do. But he says, sometimes I just want to listen to my heart more than I want to listen to what I understand is right. Right? So it's a very dangerous path. And my friend is in danger, obviously. And we're in danger if we think this way. So, the trials will come again. So, how much will we lose if we're not ready? And will we survive if we don't teach our hearts? And the main question, I guess, is what exactly, I think all of us understand something that they need to fulfill right now. But what is hard for them to fulfill right now. So let me ask you to think about this, okay? What exactly, from the words of Jesus Christ, that you all very well know, because you have been Christians for years, what exactly do you need to put into practice right now to make your foundation strong? And for your house to not collapse. So, may God help us, give us wisdom. Okay?